Hello everyone, I'm going to be going over the site audit report in more detail for you in this presentation. So I chose Andrea Pizza as the demo site. It's actually andreampolis.com, and this is the site that we did a site audit report on. So as you'll see on this site, it's actually built on Joomla. It doesn't have too many pages. It has a menu. No pictures on the menu. Site's a bit outdated. It's an older version of Joomla. Rave reviews and contact. A very, very simple website. But it is their primary site here. And if I go in, just to show you a bit about what the site audit report looks like, there is, whenever you would go to open up a zip file, you would actually see quite a few documents inside, because what you receive whenever you get the site audit report is a zip file, because we don't want to be combining everything on one document, because we don't want it to be too overloading. The main thing that you're going to want to be looking for is the site audit report overview. That's going to give you the summary, it's going to give you the overview, and it's what's going to direct you to the other documents. So a lot of people will probably only read the audit report overview. The other are just supporting documents, right? So let's go ahead and open up the audit report overview here, and let me take you through what this would look like. Now I understand you can PDF this out and you can put your own cover page on it if you want to. We're not shooting for the highest design quality on these audit reports, but what we're shooting for is strategy and knowledge and a well-written summary on all of the data that we went through. So on this one, on the summary, in short, what we're summarizing on the initial overview is a quick summary of all of the errors and issues that we found. Keep in mind, the purpose of the site audit report is to determine all of the additional work that needs to be done or changes to the site that should be done before the marketing campaign starts, or added on to the on-page optimization process of the marketing campaign. We are talking about the errors that we found, 404 errors, duplicate title tag issues, additional content that's necessary. And then we go into each issue in the summary a bit more. Web design analysis, going through and just stating out the issues with the web design that they do have. For instance, they had one page that's taking 11 seconds to load. Not a big issue, it's just one of their pages. Other than that, on the site, the main issues are it's not user-friendly, it's not personalized to them, they have no pictures of the restaurant, they have no images of their food on their menu, it's not a catching website, the website is not mobile responsive, and we're heavily recommending them to go ahead and redesign it mobile responsive. It's not necessary because it is on Joomla, which is a perfectly fine CMS platform, so we can work with it as is. It does not have to be redesigned, but it's a big recommendation because they should upgrade the design on the website and make it look better, right? So before they go into marketing, it would be nice if they had a catching website so that whenever the traffic does go their way, it will convert for them, as opposed to going here, which looks more like a simple landing page. So that's web design analysis. Website structure analysis is really going through some of the things that we would use to look at the site structure. You know, do they have analytics involved or webmaster involved? Webmaster installed, I mean. How are their XML sitemaps? How's the domain redirects going? And just summarizing that and stating that this would be part of the SEO campaign they'd be launching. So it's not an additional cost to get it fixed, but we did find errors. Error troubleshooting report goes over the broken links that we found. We actually found 3 broken links on this site. And although the site does have 10 pages, it only has, for instance, 3 indexing in Bing, and what we would be able to do to get that fixed. Page title and meta description troubleshooting report. This one was pretty simple. I mean, sometimes this summary could be much more intensive, but on this one, you know, the page title and meta descriptions, we found that the reason why they had duplicates was because they have a www version of the website indexing and a non-www version. So we don't need a charge to fix the duplicate meta tags and page titles. We just need to fix the domain redirect issue. So that's one of the nice things about a summary report. Instead of just getting back and saying, hey, here's X amount of duplicate meta tags and page titles, we'll actually look into see what it takes to fix it, because it might not be the situation where they need to be rewritten. They might be unique, but there's duplicate versions of that page out there, and that's what needs to be fixed. Backlink analysis, this one was very simple. They only had 3 backlinks. We're simply stating that, you know, they didn't have any negative backlinks that we saw, and at the same time letting them know that, you know, we will be building backlinks over a monthly basis. Content analysis and optimization guidelines. Again, the summary is personalized to them. We're talking about really the number of pages that they need added to their site and how many total words and why. Why is it important? And that we are structuring the URLs and letting them know where these content instructions are at and where to view the pricing. And then a conclusion summary. The conclusion summary wraps up the issues, lets them know that the main issues overall, when it gets down to it, is site usability, website design, the lack of written content, and the lack of backlinks is the main thing that they're looking at here. And then it goes over the additional reports that are attached. Although in the duplicate website content analysis on this one, we didn't find anything that was alarming, but we did go ahead and attach it, as well as the error in backlinks and website content and URL instructions. And then on the summary, line item and pricing overview at the bottom of the summary, we go over, yes, how many keywords were involved in our analysis, but we also go over every single line item, complete and no issues. If there were some issues, for instance, competition analysis, we let you know that we did look at the competition analysis and the keywords in more depth, and per the proposal you were wanting to go with, they seem to be perfectly within the competition range. Were there any keyword grouping issues, for instance, and there were not? Were there any platform issues? The best we can tell without having website access, no issues. No malware that we found. Website design general instructions, again, we just summarize it. We're not able to quote on a web design rebuild because we need to look into that and know what they're wanting more. So anytime that on the website audit report, whenever it comes back and we say, I really think you need to have this thing rebuilt, that you need to get with the sales consulting team to get the full web design quote generated, because that's a different step in the process. So everything else is quoted out in here, right? The things that had no issues, we don't expand on that. If they have no issues, that's great. We do check them. Trust me. We definitely do. I cut this report way down because they were taking screenshots of everything that had the no issues on it, and it was just overwhelming. But for instance, even with the malware check, they use 3 different sites to check that. They do a really good job. Site performance, yeah, we found one URL that had 11-second load issue. That's a problem. How much it costs to fix it, and that it's a low priority, right? It's just one page. Web design is high priority. We always recommend paying heavy attention to high and medium priority and not as much attention to low priority. Comment, search engine metrics, sitemaps, URL structure analysis. Again, there's comments on this, but this would be part of the SEO campaign, so it wouldn't be an additional cost. 3 broken links found, additional cost to fix that. The page indexing issue, the amount to fix that, and that's a high priority, of course. The duplicate titles and duplicate meta tags, we're able to fix that with the domain redirect on this case, so there's not an additional charge for that. And as far as keyword grouping, URL mapping, target URLs, that all went well. We didn't have a problem grouping the keywords and structuring them together in the content silos, and sometimes we might need to get a hold of you. URL architecting, we're able to get through that, but we did require 9 additional pages to be created. And the content instructions. You know, with the new campaigns, website content could hit the client pretty hard, but they can create that content on their own, or they can ask, you can ask us to create that at an additional cost. And at the bottom, we summarize this. If you want us to take care of every single priority we went over that has a cost issued to fix it, what's the total on that? For instance, on this one, if the client was willing to write the content, we only found $50 of additional charges. And if you only wanted to take care of the high priorities, that's only $30 additional, whereas the low priorities are an additional $20. So, you know, that does factor in. Of course, on the high priority, there is a note in here on, you know, the web design rebuild isn't part of the high priority. That's a separate quote. But as you can see here, the issues on this one, although it's a small site, there were not a lot. But by stepping into it and looking into it, we would be able to find a lot of issues that could be an extreme detriment to a campaign if we didn't catch them ahead of time. This example is pretty straightforward. Another example that we'll be releasing was, for instance, on a Flash website, and the whole thing has to be scrapped and rebuilt. This website really should be rebuilt before we enter into marketing. So, again, for the sites that have much more backlinks, they have a lot more target URLs, they're going to have a lot more of the missing and long page and meta tags, but at least you're able to see the format and get through it and see what the summary is going to look like and the costing analysis. So that is this document, but it does refer to, for instance, like I said, we have the backlinks analysis. This one only had a few, but the backlinks analysis, we'll be pulling out all of the backlinks that are there. And the backlinks analysis is pretty straightforward. you're going to know if what the anchor text is, the URL that it's coming from, the domain name, the link value, the PR on it, and also domain IP and the domain PR as well. So that'll be helpful on a backlinks analysis. And when we go through a backlinks analysis, we're looking for, 500 backlinks coming from a site that looks suspicious. We're looking for issues, or we're specifically looking for anchor text. It's interesting sometimes, and it's odd. But sometimes, like for instance, you'll have a website that's selling baseball bats. And you look at the backlinks and you find a bunch of backlinks coming from a site and the anchor text is Viagra. That's something we need to look into, right? So we're really looking at backlinks, not just to tell them, hey, you don't have any backlinks. We're looking at backlinks to find detrimental backlinks that really shouldn't be there, that need to have action taken on them. And if not, it could be a detriment to the campaign when we start. So that's really what we're looking for. Let me show you what the error report overview looks like, which is the larger report. When we report the errors to you in the summary, you saw how nice and condensed it was. We only bring up the issues in front of you that need to be dealt with. We don't need to show you all the data, and that's why we attach it separately. But if you did want to go through it, this is pretty much most of everything. These are all the pages that we found on the site. This is the page title on them, title length, and then as you go through, you'll see that we also document the headers and the meta tags, word count, in links, out links, things like that. We are looking at this to find any issues, but we specifically break this up on the bottom tabs to show you specifically what are the broken links. This one only had 3. Some websites have 400. Site performance. What was the page load time, right? So this site did really great on page load times. If you look through here, they're all great. Your page load time should not be more than 4 seconds, preferably less than 3. But as you can see here, we found one page that was taking 11 seconds to load. Low priority, not a huge issue, but yes, something that it probably should be addressed, right? 11 seconds, you're going to get a big bounce rate on that. You might as well not have the page. Index pages is another tab. This is just showing you the actual index pages by Google and the index pages by Bing. So how would we fix Bing? Well, there was a note in there on that, but probably regenerating the sitemap and adding it should help out by quite a bit, right? Now, if we go and look at... Oh, yeah, and also the note that the team made on this, on the actual page, they found indexing, and this is important as well. For instance, on these, we found indexing pages that should not be indexing. There are certain values or types of objects within Joomla or WordPress that you should be using a robots text, no index, no follow, on those to make sure that you don't get these kind of results in the search engines. But it still doesn't explain why the other pages wouldn't be indexing. But for the most part, maybe there is only that amount of pages that should be indexing. Duplicate page titles report. Yeah, again, it's pretty clear and obvious which ones are duplicates and that they need to be rewritten and the length on them. Duplicate meta descriptions. Yeah, the meta descriptions that need to be rewritten because they are duplicate. So that's the error report overview. But again, on the summary, we go over just the quantities on what needs to be fixed. This is so if you want to dive into it and see it for your own eyes and get into it with a client, you can. Typically, people aren't going to open up these additional reports because you're looking for the summary. That's what you're paying us for, is to run these reports, interpret them, prioritize them, price them out for you, and give a duration on how long it would take to complete them once you let us know what exactly you want us to be working on. This report here is the content instructions and the URL mapping, right? So the homepage main navigation, we're recommending a top layer layout, a top level layout like this across the top navigation. And then, for instance, inside of this one, it would drop down into the secondary pages. Off of menu, a secondary page, right? Now, off of these would be the anchor text on the pages, on the keywords that we're going to be going after. We have the competition value on them for reference if you wanted to reference the monthly search volume that we have. And notice that we organize them from primary to secondary keywords, right, so that we can silo them. And then we have the corresponding target URL. Notice when they say new page. So these are new page creations. This is a perfect example of a small local website that does not have the content they need. I mean, really, we're recommending that they add 9 new pages if I count properly here real quick, 9 new pages, and even the pages they do have still need quite a bit of content. And we're letting you know that the pages that do exist, do they need URL rewrites to make the URLs friendly or not? These did not for the URLs that already existed. Now, the anchor text keyword, when we do write the pages, just so you see, and we add the pages, when we say anchor text, we're actually interlinking related pages on the site. You don't have to pay attention to this. And then we have page remarks on what to write about and how much to write about them. But you should be writing about the keywords, right? So each page that we ask for content, you should be writing about the keyword subject matter. We used to give instructions on the exact keyword density, but we would prefer for you to just write naturally about the subject matter given the keyword that's in there, right? So sometimes you can write about a keyword more or less, but when we get the content back, we'll analyze it and optimize it a bit if we need to. But it's really best instructions for the client just to write naturally about that keyword, though. They need to mention the keyword. These we just document if we do need to be creating new headers or not, right? And we can do that for you guys. Or if the client's going to write it, though, they should be creating their own headers, or they'll just consider it they would probably call it a page title, although it's really not. So that's the mapping and content instructions document. And then we have this is just by default. This is just what you see in the dashboard pretty much. The keywords, how we grouped them as if they're primary or secondary, the competition level, and these are just further SEO competition stats, cost per click, and where they started at in their ranking. So we send that over just for documentation. And then also attached is the same thing that was in the summary that we condensed down into there, but this has comments on it. This is the same pricing summary right here that you saw in the overview. So what we do is on the summary report, which I'll bring up again, yes, you have the pricing down here at the bottom, right? We also attach this same section in an Excel sheet just in case you wanted it in Excel and you don't like it in the form of the Word document. You wanted to remove it, right? So since you need to go in and mark up the pricing to the client, keep in mind if you're going to send them the entire zip file, if you don't remove the pricing from here, that it's also attached in the Excel sheet. That's the exact same thing as this, but it has the comments on it. So if you do send the client both, which you don't need to do, one or the other should be fine, but do make sure that you do adjust your pricing on markup, because of course this pricing is the pricing to you. Again, this is just a demo, but you go in, pretty much review the summary yourself, make any edits to the recommendations, decide if you want to send out the additional reports that we attached for you, adjust the pricing, make any additional comments that you want to make. Feel free to put your own cover letter on it and go ahead and ship it out. We send it to you in an easy Word format so that you can edit it if you want to, and then you're probably going to want to PDF it and get it out to the client. So, as time goes on, I'm sure we'll be upgrading the looks of the report, but what's really important is that we write a really competent summary and we make good recommendations for the campaign, that we're analyzing the keywords, we're analyzing their relativity to the website, we're analyzing the errors on the website, the site design itself, and that we're really looking into that content and making good content instructions so the client understands what they're in for, and that you can consult with them ahead of time and find out, before launching the marketing campaign, do they want to be writing the content? Do they want to be paying for the content? And things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to being able to offer these site audit reports on all campaigns ahead of time. Keep in mind the site audit reports are optional, but to avail of our guarantee, the site audit reports need to be ran ahead of time so that we can get the scope into the campaign before it launches. That's going to be really important for us. And it's also going to help us with meeting our deadlines during the on-page optimization process, because currently there's a lot of back and forth because of the additional work details going back and forth and figuring out issues as we go into on-page. And this is going to eliminate that back and forth and allow us to hit our deadlines much easier during the on-page optimization process. So this is the website audit report overview. Keep in mind, I will be uploading this into the document library for you and getting the video into the video library for your further training, and you're more than welcome to download this zip file. AndreaMpolis.com, however you say it, is just a test case. We pulled this out of the water, literally. This is not a campaign of ours. This is surely randomly chosen and a report generated, so feel free to share this as an example audit report with anyone that you want. And just word of advice, because someone's going to do this, if you do go and target Indraimpolis as a client, do note that this is a completely random test campaign that we do publish materials on internally to you guys. So not a recommendation to target them as a client, but if you're okay with us running our example reports and publishing as examples internally for other resellers, then I suppose that would be up to you. So, all right, everyone, hopefully you like the new site audit reports, and I'll be in touch shortly with more tutorials.